The Real Monica Adams Show is brought to you by Exist Stretch. Stop by for your free consultation and 30-minute introductory stretch today.
I am enjoying some time with my husband, and we wanted to play some of our best of shows. This one in particular hits hard. I don't know if you've seen on social media or you've read or maybe talked to a friend about the unsudden passing of Limmie Pulliam, an incredible opera singer from Southeast Missouri. We actually have had an opportunity and blessed to have had him on the show twice in the last 3.5 years. And we talk about his career. We talk about him almost ending his career, body shaming, and truly wowing thousands upon thousands of audiences. He had so many people he still wanted to sing with. He had so many venues he still wanted to perform at. And unfortunately, the good Lord above decided he needed to sing for an even bigger audience in heaven. Limmie Pulliam no longer with us, but boy, did he teach us so much. And today, I want you to learn from him as we go back into the archives and one of the best of shows. Limmie, we miss you all, but thank you for the gift you provided us. Oh, okay. We're going to hear a little more of that because we can't, that's just like little teases. I want you to actually get a chance to see him in person, which is truly one of the most incredible things that I have been thinking about ever since I was first introduced to this man. I want to thank my friend Carl Lund, by the way, who is a dear friend of both of ours. He first introduced me to Limmie, and I had Limmie on a life coaching class that I used to teach on Thursdays. That's actually where it started. We took that, and in the very beginning of the show, we were able to edit that up and show you that. So some of you hopefully saw the very first show that we aired with Limmie. In fact, it was one of our most popular podcasts. So we drop a podcast on Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. on all the audio podcast platforms. And that still is one of our top ones. Let me bring our friend on, Limmie Pulliam. I am so excited that we finally get a chance to do this live.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Again, the next time we do this, we are going to be in person.
Yeah.
Here's the deal, though. I think I need to do it in the evening for Limmie. He's like, this is early, Monica. Right? Because you're up and you're running through everything for your big shows. And he's like, yeah, I'm not driving you early.
Yeah, 7 a.m. is a bit early for us night owls,
But he still got that beautiful voice. So tenor opera singer Limmie Pulliam, again, is my guest this morning. I hope a lot of you have followed him. But for those who don't know about Limmie, we're going to take you back a little bit to then move you forward. So Limmie, when did you first know that you had this incredible voice?
Good question. It was probably, well, it's probably sometime in high school is when I realized that I actually had a gift for what I do. I always grew up singing. I grew up singing in church. My father was a pastor, so I grew up singing with the youth group in the youth choir, and into the young adult choir, into the adult choir. But it was something that it wasn't until probably sophomore, late freshman, early sophomore year of high school that I was really bitten by the bug and with opera.
Well, that's what I was going to say because, I can go back into high school and think, okay, I was in choir, but you
hmm
end up a lot of times singing what you're listening to on the radio and then introduced maybe to like big band stuff, etc. So if you go
hmm
back to high school, what were you singing back then?
we were singing lots of classical music and classical arrangements of pop songs, and we did like a fall themed concerts. We would do a Christmas concert. We would do a very popular um, pop concert where we would sing great hits from whatever era, including our own. And it'd be this huge production with sets and choreography and things of that nature. So it was a lot of fun. Um, but a lot of times we would sing, you know, classical choral pieces. And even though we weren't very familiar, we didn't know it was classical at the time. I didn't know it was classical at the time. But you would have these choral pieces, and you would audition for different things like district choir,
Mhm.
and things of that nature, through these pieces. And yeah, that's sort of how we were kind of exposed to it. How I was exposed to it unknowingly, through my school choir.
So if you go back, and by the way, where did you go to school?
I went to school at Kennett in the Kennett Public School System in Kennett, Missouri,
Yes, so
and
he's a Missouri guy.
I'm a Missourian, and I had the great honor of having a wonderful choral director, starting in middle school, starting in sixth grade choir, that I had all the way through high school, and she's the one who actually introduced me to opera specifically.
Is she by chance still around or no?
She
She is?
is, and we we
Let's give
we
her a
still
shout out.
speak. Her name's Veretta Sexton, and
Thank you.
she's still here in Kennett, and we still speak and text on just about a daily basis.
How proud is
And
she of you?
I think she's pretty proud.
I bet.
I think she's pretty proud, and I'm just as proud to have been one of her students. So.
That's the thing. Again, if you're just tuning in, we're speaking with opera tenor Limmie Pulliam, and we'll talk about, again, the dream that he had, how it almost got, well, it got squashed, but how it came back and where he is now and what he has plans for in 2025 and moving forward. But Limmie, isn't it cool that we can go back and immediately, there's things in our life that we don't remember, but then all of a
Hmm.
sudden someone pulls something out of us to say, well, where did this come from or that come from? I will forever remember Mrs. Olish, who unfortunately isn't with us anymore, my third grade teacher who just lit up a room. And she was the one that really had us all fall in love with music. And see, I mean,
Hmm.
right away, you don't forget their names because they were so impactful on your life, right?
Yeah, I remember every single one of my music teachers' names. Starting from elementary school on up. We had from first through third grade. We had a teacher by the name of Fern Doherty, who would travel from class to class with her shopping cart filled with little instruments, and she would come to our classes on Wednesday mornings. So we always looked forward to Wednesday morning when that shopping cart would come pushing into the room, and we knew we were going to at least for a while to have a little fun.
So besides having this incredible voice, and we're going to hear a little bit more from Limmie, do you also play instruments?
Uh,
Tinker with?
I tinker with.
Okay.
I tinker with the guitar a little bit, bass guitar. Percussion was an instrument that I studied more in high school. I played percussion in the middle school and high school band. So I did that for a number of years, and but yeah, it's I tinker with instruments.
Uh, well, he doesn't tinker with this instrument. I mean, he's full-fledged into it. So you had told us, and again, I want a lot of you to go back because it was such a powerful interview. This was last year when we aired that one for you. You can listen to it or you can watch it with all the streaming videos that we have out there. But you were singing, and then you were looking to go into different parts, and you weren't getting those, and it was like people didn't think you fit their image, right? Fat shaming. We talk about this so much and how people can try to have power over us if we let them
Mhm.
and squash our dreams. So as you hear Limmie throughout this hour, for me to even imagine that this voice wouldn't have been out to our world, I don't is unimaginable. I don't even want to think that because it is such an incredible gift that you have. But this was, what age did you stop singing? And then what age did you pick it back up?
I stopped singing in my early 20s, um, and I not long after I made my professional debut, actually. And it was just one of those things to where you were constantly being told, "Oh, you have such a wonderful voice," and call us back when you've lost 50 pounds, and we'll do a live audition with you. Or people would wish that, oh, if your voice was in such and such body, and you think about it and you think, well, obviously these people aren't aware that the instrument is the body,
Yes.
and that the voice wouldn't be what it was without the instrument, which is my body.
Yep.
So it just became very frustrating, and I decided I didn't want to deal with the frustration anymore, so I walked away.
Hmm. You know, it's interesting that you bring that up because it just makes me think of so many people that maybe we have followed in the industry. Barbara Streisand comes to mind immediately, and how many
Mhm.
people would shame her, right? And say, you should get your nose fixed.
Fix your
If you
nose, yeah.
yeah, if you fix your nose, you would be this. And she came back and was like, you understand the mechanics of the body. And that if I did
Hmm.
that, that could affect her voice, the most incredible voice. We can just say Barbara, and we all know who we're talking about.
Oh yeah, oh
So,
yeah.
right, the same kind of thing. Or let's go to Luther Vandross. Now, Luther did end up losing the weight, but I don't know why. If he had a scare in health, I don't know that story. But he was told the same thing.
Yeah, and if you know, if and especially within the black community, there's always this debate when you say your favorite singer is Luther Vandross. The next question is, do you like Big Luther or Little Luther?
Little Luther. All right. Do you like Big Luther or Little Luther?
Definitely Big Luther.
And again, we can in our minds think of so many people, and it's here's the reason why we're talking about this particular part of the subject in today's show is what does that have to do with his voice? Don't we just want to sit there and listen to the gift, this God-given talent that he then takes and grows and grows and grows? I mean, that's the thing. So you stop singing in your 20s, and
Mhm.
then I think it's the coolest story. And if you all didn't hear it back then, what made you come back to it?
It was just a number of things. It was just kind of an interest. I worked in odd jobs in collections, and I worked as a security guard before starting my own security firm in the St. Louis area, which is where Carl and I first met,
Right?
working together through Live Nation, and and it was starting my own company in around 2005, and we were doing special events and whatnot around the St. Louis area, and it was a great time. I loved it, absolutely loved what I was doing, and then an opportunity arose for me to join the 2007-2008 presidential campaign for Barack Obama, campaign for president, and so I began working for them as a field organizer in my home turf here in the southeastern Missouri. I was working in 5 counties, including the county in which I grew up, to organize for the campaign and organize volunteers and help get out the vote for President Obama. And it was in that process that um, we were organizing events and different gatherings and whatnot. And I was organizing a gathering here in Kennett, and had asked the local beauty queen to sing the national anthem, and she kind of backed out on me at the last minute, and it kind of put us in a pretty awkward spot, or as my boss has said, and they were pretty adamant about wanting to have the anthem sung. So it was that day that my boss, who happened to be in town, said, "Didn't I read on your resume that you used to be an opera singer?" And I was like, "Oh, he actually read the resume. Okay, yeah."
Exactly.
um, and so I said, "Yeah." I said, "But I haven't sung in a number of years."
How
And
many
so
years
why
had
don't
it
you? It had been probably 6, 7 years
been?
at the
Okay.
time. Um, and so I told him, I said, I haven't sung in front of a crowd in quite some time. So I'm not really comfortable with that because one, I don't know what's going to come out. And he basically said, "Well, who's going to know?" I said, "Well, I'll know." And that, even though it's kind of selfish of me to say it that way, I was basically I knew what my standards used to be, and
Sure.
I knew that what was going to come out probably wouldn't be up to those standards.
Right.
But I kind of pulled it together and was able to do the anthem, and it was in the singing of the anthem that I noticed some changes vocally that kind of piqued my interest, and changes in the voice, changes in the tone, changes in the color and textures of the voice that kind of piqued my interest. And so afterwards, I kind of secretly began um, retraining here at home in my bedroom secretly. I would pull out old lesson tapes from my days in college and sing along with those tapes. And eventually I ran out of tapes and had to find a voice teacher. And luckily I found a wonderful voice teacher in Memphis who I'd known since I was an undergrad and was a protege of my former teacher. And yeah, we began working together, and I worked with her for a couple years, and finally one day in a lesson she says, "So, what are you going to do with this?
Exactly.
Yeah, are you going to keep taking lessons and just singing here in lessons, or actually going to get out and do something with this?" And so it was from there that yeah, I actually had to get out and do something. I entered my first competition and won that first
Of course you
competition, and
did.
that and it kind of put me on the road to where we are today.
Again, there are so many videos. I have been going down the rabbit hole of listening to this video, listening to this podcast. I was actually watching you give lessons to people. And I thought it was so incredible that you were talking about if you close your eyes, you can still feel light come in. All these different
Mhm,
things of our senses that heighten,
mhm.
which I thought was just absolutely beautiful. So these people that were able to, be taking lessons by Limmie. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to say that, yes, in his early 20s, he stopped. Then he was brought back. And then he had these dreams of playing Carnegie Hall, the Metropolitan Opera, so many different things that he has been able to do. And now I want to know, after this wonderful holiday concert, and we go into the end of the year and into 2025, what are the dreams that Limmie has? If you have any questions, by the way, for him, excuse me, or if you have seen him perform, let me know. Our director, Zach, actually has a connection to a friend that's performed with you, Limmie. I don't know if he told you that already. If not, we'll tell that story coming up for you as well. Don't go anywhere. More of the Real Monica Adams Show to come.
What if you could start your day feeling loose, relaxed, and ready? Deep hydrotherapy right in your backyard. Relax with your family or friends, or work out with our Michael Phelps Edition Swim Spas. Worried about maintenance? We have factory-trained service nearby whenever you need it. Plus, we're here for you long-term if you have any questions or need to refill supplies. You can even test spas at our showrooms. Spas and More, A+ rated, locally owned for 20 years. We put the ah in spa.
Il presagio funesto d'esperio caro.
Oh, that voice, just so good. Limmie Pulliam is our guest. Again, this incredible operatic tenor who made his debut at the Metropolitan Opera in December of 2022. So let's go back 2 years. What did that night mean to you?
Um, it was a night that that every aspiring opera singer dreams of, you know, to sing on that historic stage. And it was one that I knew could was a possibility, but because I was working as a cover at the time, who's basically a safety net for a production, in case someone gets ill, and you're there to fill in. And unfortunately, my good colleague Brian Jade became ill, and I was asked to step in, and it was. I still remember the phone call, the first phone call of the morning, which on show days we would get check-in phone calls just to say, "Hey, how are you feeling?" Just checking in. Where are you going to be during showtime? Will you be at home? Are you going to be, um, in the green room? What are your plans? Um, my plan was always to be there in the green room. And the first phone call I noticed was going just a little longer than normal that morning. And she goes, "Well, how are you feeling?" So I'm feeling good. Things are, the voice is feeling good. I'm up doing my morning routine on the day of show. And she said, just to give you um a heads up, we've had word that Brian may not be feeling well.
Oh,
Um, Thankfully, the day before, Brian had already given me a heads up and said, things aren't feeling the best. I'm going to try to push through. We may but I don't want you to be blindsided
Right.
if things go south. So, the first call was just a wellness call. Um, letting me know Brian was not feeling well. The next call was just another check-in from another person who was kind of higher up in the chain. And each call was kind of like someone new calling in to check in. So how are you doing? How are you feeling? How's the voice? Um, so with each call, I kind of felt that things were kind of gonna go that way. And then the final call came around 1 o'clock that afternoon was the call that said, so we've gotten final word. Brian is not well enough to sing. You're going on tonight.
Wow. Wow. And again,
Um,
you talk about always being ready because you never know
yeah,
when your opportunity
yeah.
comes.
You have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Very good. That is huge. Yes. Say that again.
Yeah, you have to stay ready so that you don't have to get ready.
I love that. That is a great mantra that so many people need to follow. We had Jeremy Boyer, who is the organist for the St. Louis Blues and St. Louis Cardinals, on just a week ago, and same kind of a similar situation happened where the singer that was supposed to do the national anthem for the Blues game suddenly wasn't able to, and they were like, "Don't you sing also?" And he goes, "Well, I play." Well, yeah, I do sing. And so he played first and then he sang it a cappella. So there was like two things there, but he was like, never did that before. And I said, yes, you never know when the
You
opportunity
never
comes.
know. You
That's
never
right.
know.
So again, opera tenor Limmie Pulliam is our guest. We just talked about the Metropolitan Opera. Carnegie Hall, you did that as well. So these
Mhm.
big things that were on your list that you dreamt about probably as a little kid, right? And then you get into your 20s, you realize you've got this gorgeous voice. So you've done those, and we talked about those the last time you were on with us. Since that interview that we did, moving to the last year and a half, what else really stands out in performances that you've done? Oh, and we got to say, Zach Kimball, who is my director, he saw you. He's like, I've actually realized I've seen him perform live. You did he say Aida? Is that right, Zach? Yeah. So Aida, and then his friend, who I actually know, his mother, she is with SIUE, and she sends a lot of the interns to us. Her son Javi sang with you in this. I think he's in the back row, the third from the right on the back row.
Yes, this was from Union Avenue Opera
Oh, how cool is
in
this?
St.
See?
Louis. Yes.
And what a blessing Zach, I'm sure, felt when he was able to hear you. Javi said that you were the best tenor he's ever sang with. So there you go.
Oh, thanks, Javi. The check's in the mail.
Checks in the mail. So from when we talked about a year and a half ago, what stands out for you that you've done? And then at the same time, what is still on your bucket list?
Oh gosh, there's the list is
Endless?
still endless. It's I've had the great pleasure of making my international debut singing in Germany at the Gewandhaus in Leipzig.
Mm.
I've sung in Montreal with the Orchestra Metropolitain. Um, Gosh, I've made multiple more appearances with the world-renowned Cleveland Orchestra, the Philadelphia Orchestra. I'll be going to Zurich, Switzerland in June for my debut there. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward. There's so many places I'm still looking forward to singing. So much music I'm looking forward to singing, and more hopefully more recordings in the future to to capture some of this beautiful music that I'm so blessed to be able to do and to put it on to capture it in a way that people can enjoy it for years to come.
Well, and let's talk about enjoying opera, by the way. I was introduced back in the early 90s, right here in St. Louis, Opera Theater of St. Louis, which, by the way, just shout out to them. They do an
Hmm.
amazing job. And I had never, I mean, I love going to the Fox and the Muni and Stage of St. Louis and all these other places that we have, but I had never seen opera. And my introduction to opera, Limmy, was The Rape of Lucretia. It was
Oh wow,
exactly.
that that's
I was like,
that's that's
throw
uh
me
that's
in.
a That's a big introduction.
Exactly, it was. So a guy that I had interviewed who lived in New York, he was friends with the director of Opera Theater of St. Louis, and he said, I want you to come. And so that was, but I loved it. I mean, that's the thing. I do have this love for the arts, though. If someone is being introduced to opera, I'm
Mhm.
going to tell them not to be introduced that way. What would you tell them would be a good introduction? Because sometimes people say, "Oh, I don't know about opera. I don't understand. It's an Italian. I'm not going to know what they're talking about." What would you tell them?
Music is an international language, and it speaks to the heart. So um, I would say not to get caught up on the linguistic aspects of the art form,
Mhm.
because the music will still speak to you in some form or another. You know, there are so many great operas who I think which would make great introductions to opera, that are more traditional pieces. La Boheme would be a
Mhm.
wonderful piece. La Traviata would be another one. Even a comedic opera from the Barber of Seville, or which most of us was our introduction through Looney Tunes. If you look back through
Exactly.
those days,
That's right.
that was basically our introduction to some of us. I'm, Elmer Fudd. I'm the Bob of Seville, and as he's hunting
I'm
wabbits,
hunting wabbits.
yeah, those were kind of our, unknown introductions to us. You go back and you hear some of these tunes, you're like, wow, where have I heard that before?
Yep.
And you realize it was in your favorite childhood cartoon,
Yep.
or you have things. Um, the role I recently did, which was the role of Canio in I Pagliacci, which has the famous Ridi Pagliaccio aria, which was used in a cereal commercial.
Ah,
I believe in the
seriously?
in the '60s, the Rice Krispies commercials, and he sings this line, "Ridi Pagliaccio," and in the commercial he goes, "No more Rice Krispies," and it's quite entertaining. So opera is everywhere. You just have to be open minded and listen to it, and it's for everyone. It's not for the rich. It's not for
Right.
the elite. Opera is for everyone,
I agree.
and I would encourage you to kind of, if you have the opportunity, to go and watch and listen to an opera.
Well, and keep an open mind and just allow your heart to open up. And again, whether you're understanding anything from
Yes,
like Lemmy said, from the linguistic standpoint, you will feel what is being
yes.
portrayed there for you. That's what
You'll
I
you'll
felt.
feel it, and they do provide translations, which are
Yes.
viewable above the screen, above the stage.
Mhm.
Depending on the theater, they'll have projections above the stage with the translation. Or if you're in a larger theater, like the Metropolitan Opera, the translation is actually on the back of the seat in front of you.
Oh, wow.
So it's right at eye level with the stage, so you're able to kind of keep an eye on the translation. And in houses like the Metropolitan Opera, you can see the translation in numerous languages. So it's accessible. You just have to take that first step to actually
Yep.
go.
Well, and
And
again, from technology, I mean, they've got, when I first went, they didn't have that. So I just was immersed in watching and feeling. And again, whether I'm understanding what they're singing about, you understand by what's being played out, and you and get moved to emotion. La Boheme, by
yeah.
the way, was my second that I had a chance to see, which was
Oh,
incredible.
great. Good, good, good.
Well, let me. What about this? What about people who have gone and have always been told, "Oh, Phantom of the Opera. You have to see Phantom of the Opera." So people go there, and if they think, "I like to see musicals," right? Because
Hmm.
we do, and then all of a sudden there's this operatic part, and they're like, "Oh, am I being introduced to opera?" What are your feelings on Phantom of the Opera tied to opera?
that's been an ongoing discussion, and it depends on who you speak with on the reaction you're going to get. Some people, you may get a very frustrated reaction, in that they'll say, no, 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 Phantom of the Opera is not opera, and it isn't. But it I think that any avenue through which we can maybe pique someone's interest or introduce them to the art form, is a good thing.
Absolutely.
And if someone's introduction comes through Phantom of the Opera, sure, that's, it may not be opera per se by, by our standards, but um, there are ways that you can use that to further introduce someone. Oh, they love Phantom of the Opera. Okay, let's play them a recording of such and such singing, um, you know, music of the night, as opposed to Michael Crawford, who was kind of one of the more well known, um, portrayers of the role
Right.
on Broadway. Um, it's a completely different type of animal, so to speak, to be able to perform on a musical stage as opposed to an operatic stage. Everything we do in opera is without amplification. W- we are, you know, we don't use microphones. I mean, we use microphones now for broadcasts
Hmm.
and for things of that nature, but it's not for the amplification of the voice. Everything you hear in the theater is acoustic, and um, in Broadway shows, a lot of it's amplified, and for good reason, because they're having to put on 8 shows a week, um, which can be a tough feat.
Yeah.
We do, as opera singers, uh, we have to have a day or two to recover between performances, strictly because of the amount of effort that goes into the portrayal of the part, the singing, and the projection of, being able to project your voice over a full orchestra into a couple thousand seat house, um, is not an easy thing to do. Um,
I wouldn't imagine. What is the largest audience you've ever sung in front of?
Largest audience would probably be Madison Opera in the Park. We had a crowd of about 10,000,
Oh my gosh.
and it
You ever
was
get nervous?
always.
You do.
But you learn to direct the energy in a more positive way.
Huh.
You, yeah, there were times as a younger singer I would get nervous, and the butterflies would be going, and you're kind of, oh my God, I can't, oh gosh,
I can't
okay,
breathe.
okay, just can't, but now it's more of a, um there's more of an excitement to share um, what we're doing. You've learned to harness that energy and to redirect it in a more positive way. And
Amen. Amen to that. I'm going to take one more break, one final break. Again, Limmie Pulliam. Let's find out what's on the docket for 2025. So don't go anywhere. More with Limmie when we return. Am I healing the Parkinson's? But I am helping it subside. I'm helping him feel better.
Oh, definitely.
Not only in the moment, but sometimes for the next day or maybe even a couple days. And that's why he keeps coming back. If it didn't feel good, you wouldn't come back.
No. Yeah, I
and
look
she
forward
said
to
he
it.
won't have tremors when he's on the table. And I don't know why that happens, but she'll tell me he doesn't tremor when he's on the table. So for whatever release is in his body for that period of time, it's been very beneficial.
So you just find yourself being able to calm and be in the
Exactly.
moment?
I'm more relaxed and calm.
Welcome back. We have been visiting with opera tenor Limmie Pulliam, talking about his life, talking about how the music almost stopped completely, but it was able to come back, that majestic voice that he has. So we've been talking about some of the places that he's performed. Where would we be able to see you coming up, maybe the end of the year and into 2025?
I know I'll be in Austin, Texas,
Mhm.
for the Verdi Requiem, and then I will be in back in Madison, Wisconsin, for concert as part of the Madison Symphony's organ concert series. So I'll be singing with their organist, Mr. Greg Zellick. And then I'll be in Amherst, Massachusetts, for a recital with my dear friend Spencer Meyer on the piano, which I'm really, really looking forward to that. And then there's performances of Aida, in Baltimore with the Baltimore Symphony, and in Arizona with Arizona Opera, and then Mahler in Zurich, Switzerland.
Yes.
Yeah, so gonna be a busy winter and spring.
So if someone wants to see, and maybe they're traveling, they want to see where your performances are, where's the best place for them to follow you?
Best place to get information is on my website, lemmiepulliam.com, www.lemmiepulliam.com. We keep it up to date with all of my appearances and where I'm going to be, when I'm going to be, and there should also be links to ticketing information there as well.
By the way, those headshots are amazing. I don't know who did those, but they just really portray you perfectly. That smile on your face and that right picture is just beautiful.
Yeah, these are great pictures that were done by a photographer in New York by the name. His name's Daniel Welch. If you're ever in need of any good photos, whether it's headshots or promotional or editorial type things, he's the person to go to.
Well, they're wonderful. And again, although you and I have never had a chance to meet in person, which we've got to make that happen, we had so much fun with you when you were on my life coaching class, and they were just enthralled listening to you and really helping them through. Because you imagine people that come to retreats or anything that I hold, they're all going through so many things, as we all are as
Mhm.
human beings, and you really help them see potential in themselves where they had been in the same dark places of someone saying, you can't do this, you can't do that. And look at you now. I mean, you're thriving. For anybody who said, nope, you can't do this and you're not going to make it, you've got to lose weight. I will ask you this. So from a health standpoint, like from family, etc., do they ever get worried?
Of course, of course. That's only human. But I work closely with my doctor,
But
and to ensure that no matter the size that I'm at I'm healthy, um, regardless of whatever size I am.
good,
So I have regular checkups,
good.
and try to be as proactive as
Listen to me.
possible.
I'm like being motherly to you.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, yeah.
Please do.
Good, 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 good. Yeah, so you have to be, as with anything. Sorry, I just knocked my earpiece out of my ear.
It's okay. So again, that's the biggest thing is that we always want to make sure that someone is taking care of themselves, mind, body,
Yes,
soul, right? Movement.
yes.
Because we don't want something happening to you. We want this beautiful voice to live on for a long, long time.
Well, and that's my goal, to be as good a steward as I can for this instrument that I've been blessed with. So
Yeah, blessings abound. My friend, I'm so glad we finally had a chance to make this happen. And for all of you, again, follow him on his website, lemmiepulliam.com. Are you on social medias also?
I'm
And
on
if
social media on Facebook, Instagram,
okay,
uh, yeah, Twitter, whatever you want to call it now, X, whatever it's called. I don't know what it. Yeah, you can find me on just about every social, TikTok. Yeah.
is there
You want
anyone that, let me ask this as we wrap up. Is there anyone that you haven't had a chance to perform with that you would want to?
Of course, but I'm not going to start naming names because because then you may not name someone's name, and you may name someone's name that makes someone else a little upset that, whoa, he said their name but not my name. Why didn't you?
And
But
they get jealous.
there are tons of people who I would love to sing with. I do have I'm not going to lie, I do have a list of people who um are kind of high on, that are people who I'm just chomping at the bit to get on stage with. But we won't go into that list right
We'll just have to
now.
follow. And then you let me know if it's happening, and I'll say, oh my gosh, he's singing with them. I know I asked you last time, for those that follow the tenors, who your favorite was.
There's only one answer, and that's Luciano Pavarotti.
There we go. And now I'm a fan of his, but I'm also a big Andrea Bocelli fan. Huge, huge Bocelli fan. But yes, I mean, I figured. When I asked you last time, I'm like, I know he's going to say Luciano,
Yeah, Pavarotti's he's the
the king.
undisputed king of
Yes,
tenors,
absolutely.
and I love Andrea and what he does, but no one can fill Pavarotti's shoes.
When did you have to learn Italian, by the way?
I started studying Italian in college at Oberlin, and my freshman year I studied um, there with uh, my Italian professor in class, and then I went and studied, did several summers of intensive language study while I was an Oberlin student through programs that Oberlin offered, and yeah, it's become my kind of one of the multiple languages I've had to study over the years. We studied
Well, I was
French,
just going to ask what
Italian,
else? What else have you studied?
French.
Uh-huh.
I actually started studying French in middle school.
Oh, okay.
That was my first language I studied. So I started that in seventh grade and studied all the way through high school, and then I picked up Italian, and then I went back to French in college once I fulfilled my Italian requirements. And then French, German, Spanish, and Russian.
Oh my goodness. You amaze me. Just truly. I could have used you in Italy a few weeks ago. It was so amazing. That's the first time I'd ever been there, and hopefully it
I'm
won't be the last.
I'm sure it won't, and it's it's one of my favorite languages, and I have many friends there that I keep in touch with, and I enjoyed having the opportunity to speak it whenever I can.
Yes, absolutely incredible. Merry Christmas to you. I hope you have a
Merry
wonderful
Christmas to
holiday
you as well.
season.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I know it's early, but I appreciate you getting up. And we had a lot of videos that we wanted to put in this morning. Even though he did give us the Rice Krispie, I was not going to force you to sing this morning. But again, thank you. Stay in touch with us, and we'd love to keep tabs on you and let everybody know what you're doing in the future.
Thanks for having me, Monica.
All right, everyone. Did you enjoy that? Do me a favor, share this show with your friends, your family, listen to him. Just go online and start typing in. It's just kind of the same way that you introduce yourself to artists that you never had a chance to know before. I started following a singer, Teddy Swims, who I think some of you hopefully know by now, or maybe a lot of you know. I've known him, not known him personally, but have known of his music for the last probably 4 years now. Just kind of came across him. And that's what I want for some of you. Introduce yourself to opera. If you never have, follow our friend Limmie, and let's just continue to get him around from a social media standpoint, followers and followers and followers galore. I can't wait to see where he goes. He's just so incredible, just absolutely incredible.
Stelle all'alba vincerò, vincerò.
The Real Monica Adams Show is brought to you by Exist Stretch. Stop by for your free consultation and 30-minute introductory stretch today.